The goal of Philosophy Portal can be summed up in one sentence: to develop a deep knowledge of philosophy and connect it to your own journey. Our next course focuses on Hegel's Science of Logic. To learn more, visit philosophyportal.online. Philosophy Portal is a new platform for exploring the foundational discourses of the modern world. We first laid the groundwork with Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit, which explicates the path for becoming of a philosopher, marked as it is by imminent failure of its object. We then focused on Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, which offers us to a great post-Hegelian window into the intimate details of a personal philosophical journey, the emergence of a leader, and someone deeply concerned with what it takes to sacrifice our being for the future of spirit. Now we shift our attention back to the great master, Hegel, for his Science of Logic, which not only offers us the standpoint of philosophical knowing itself, but also might offer us the logic from which to view the development of the modern world itself. Let's see what we can discover. As stated, the Science of Logic gives us a unique window into the standpoint of philosophical knowing as such. What is the nature of this standpoint? And what separates it from the logic of what Hegel might refer to as ordinary consciousness? For Hegel, the standpoint of philosophical knowing is the strange unity of being and nothing. As he will emphasize, there is no pure being, as the traditional religious would tell us, or pure nothing, as the traditional nihilist would tell us. Nothing comes up in being. Being comes up in nothing. Once we grasp this crucial distinction, we are ready for becoming. Here, historical subjectivity has the most difficult work. That is the work of containing the unity of being nothing for a becoming that is progressively more determinate, concrete, and singular on the level of the idea. One way of saying this is that as the historical subject becomes better capable of containing this strange unity of being and nothing, the historical subject becomes more real, or even more ideal real. Internal to the logic, Hegel derives three categories from the weird unity of being and nothing. What emerges from being is essence. What emerges from essence is concept. The triad being, essence, concept structure what for Hegel become the objective and subjective logic. Now, as it relates to being, Hegel's dialectic opens us to rethinking our relation to ancient figures of philosophy, like Parmenides, who offered us to the original philosophical gesture that only being is, but also Heraclitus, who negates this idea, and in its place offered us the idea of a pure becoming or flow. From there, we also have to consider the way in which Hegel relates to modern scientific gestures of being, as in Newton's deterministic concept. As it relates to essence, we are open to reflect deeper on figures like Plato, who would suggest that essence or individuality of being comes from eternal forms, or even post-Hegelian figures like Kierkegaard, who perceives essence to be the expression of the individual, or Sartre, who claims that existence precedes essence. As it relates to concept, we are invited to think the difference in Hegel's relation to conceptuality and Aristotle's ancient grounding of logical categories, or Kant's thought of the concept as an a priori filter of being, or finally, Deleuze's introduction of ideas of transcendental empiricism and the irreducibility of experience to the concept, opening new possibilities of creativity and the new. This is all to say that Hegel's Science of Logic, structured as it is by being, essence, and concept, open us to a wild diversity of thought, from ancient philosophy to modern science to postmodern philosophy and everything in between. Now I, Cadell Last, will be your principal teacher throughout this journey. I started my journey in academia, moving through undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels of training in the sciences. My first love was anthropology, the study of the human species in general, before shifting focus to a more interdisciplinary approach in my doctorate that opened the door to, among other things, philosophy. From this initiation, my post-academic life has involved teaching at the university level, specifically related to dialectical thought, as well as interdisciplinary research in the relation between systems and subjects, and also online, the majority of which can be found on this channel you are watching right now. Finally, from this post-academic work, I've created Philosophy Portal. Philosophy Portal, first and foremost, is an online experiment. I hope that it can be an example and a seed for what university-level education might become in the digital context. Philosophy Portal has thus far become a home for courses, conferences, anthologies, exploring philosophy for our time. In this Science of Logic course, I will not be alone. I will have 6 guest instructors with me. Thomas Hamelrich and William Rupush will be teaching maths and physics related to machine learning and category theory. What surprising connections can be found when we think the foundation of Hegel's logic in the context of these radically innovative modern fields of science and maths? Alex Ebert and Daniel Garner will be teaching creativity and common life. There is a remarkable creative core to the science of logic, and this has a widespread implication for how we think creation itself. And there is also a remarkable connection in Hegel's logic to the way we experience everyday becoming, and this has a widespread implication for how we might handle the problems and tensions of this everyday becoming. Layman Pascal and Thomas Wynne will be teaching metaphysics and philosophy, which will give you a window into how Hegel's ideas can be connected to ongoing work in liminal web spaces, like Pascal's The Integral Stage, and also continental traditions like the work of Martin Heidegger. Finally, Philosophy Portal aims to be a creative space. The first collective communal project that emerged from our work involves an anthology titled Enter the Alien. Enter the Alien is a book inspired by deep readings of Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit, and features 12 articles from students in the Phenomenology of Spirit course. In the future, we aim to raise the bar and continue thinking the most difficult philosophical concepts as a community. There will be opportunities to participate in both conferences and books, where you can develop your own philosophical ideas with others who are aimed in a similar direction. From this approach, it means that when our course ends, creation begins. How can you participate? All you have to do is work through our course with me, our course instructors, and your fellow students, and bring your best to the creative process afterwards. We are trying to actualize the leading thought of our time, and you can be a part of this process. All of this starts January 16th, 2023. To learn more, visit philosophyportal.online/thescienceoflogic. The goal of Philosophy Portal can be summed up in one sentence: to develop a deep knowledge of philosophy and connect it to your own journey. Will you join us?